Well, that is not good. Phil Bodkin has crashed into the barriers. Bodkin is testing the Ferrari 488 GT3 under more aggressive conditions. Norden just clocked 133.202. Can they improve on this lap?
As the session progresses, Elliot Norden is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Bart's last lap was a 133.914, aiming to shave off some seconds here. A big impact for Van de Sande.
That's gonna hurt in the morning.
Bart Van de Sande has set a best lap time of 133.175 so far.
Bart is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Hailing from the quaint town of Melton Mowbray, Nigel must be really pumped to be here today.
Isn't that where they make all the pork pies?
It is, so let's hope he's not eating all the pies and giving himself some extra ballast. Callum Walker begins their out lap, feeling out the track conditions.
This out lap is crucial for setting up the car's systems and getting a feel for the track.
Now several laps into the session, Elliot Norden looks to refine their line and timing.
As the session progresses, Elliot Norden is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
That's a big accident. Hopefully Bart Van de Sande is okay.
At least they've not taken anyone else out.
Bart's last lap was a 133.175, aiming to shave off some seconds here.
Bart is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Elliot Norden has set a best lap time of 132.977 so far. Well, that is not good. John Boontakis has crashed into the barriers. Boontakis just clocked 134.402. Can they improve on this lap?
As the session progresses, John Boontakis is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Nigel's last lap was a 137.995, aiming to shave off some seconds here.
Nigel is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Bart Van de Sande has set a best lap time of 133.175 so far.
As the session progresses, Bart Van de Sande is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Jimmy Lindo is on their practice out lap, warming up the tires.
Jimmy Lindo will be testing the limits, making sure everything's in sync for the faster laps to come.
Now several laps into the session, Marcus Singendonk looks to refine their line and timing.
Marcus is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Vishnu Satish just clocked 137.937. Can they improve on this lap?
As the session progresses, Vishnu Satish is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
John Boontakis has set a best lap time of 134.402 so far. Now several laps into the session, Nico Vaughn looks to refine their line and timing.
Nico Vaughn is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Elliot Norton just clocked 133.863. Can they improve on this lap?
As the session progresses, Elliot Norton is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
I'm not sure which came off worse, the circuit or Van de Sande's Ferrari. Bart's last lap was a 134.516, aiming to shave off some seconds here.
Bart is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Vishnu Satish has set a best lap time of 137.937 so far. Singandong just clocked 139.869. Can they improve on this lap?
As the session progresses, Marcus Singandonk is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Now several laps into the session, John Boontakis looks to refine for Phil Bogdan.
That a Euro S the way she goes.
Bogdan is testing the Ferrari under more aggressive conditions. Elliot's last lap was a 147.058, aiming to shave off some seconds here. Lindo is testing the Ferrari 488 GT3 under more aggressive conditions. John Boontakis has set a best lap time of 134.402 so far.
As the session progresses, John Boontakis is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Here's Dominic Fovard weaving through traffic.
I hear he uses socks for guiding gloves, you know.
Slipper socks do have a lot of grip after all. That's a big accident. Hopefully Lindo is okay. Now several laps into the session, Daniel Koschutz looks to refine their line and timing.
Daniel is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Well, that is not good. John Boondockus has crashed into the barriers.
Sucks to be them.
Boondockus just clocked 134.979. Can they improve on this lap? Bart's last lap was a 134.228, aiming to shave off some seconds here.
As the session progresses, Bart van de Sande is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Callum Walker is now on their first flying lap. Let's see what they can do. Phil Bodkin is now on their first flying lap. Let's see what they can do. It looks like Košić is caught up in a significant incident. Stokes is testing the Ferrari under more aggressive conditions. Dominic Fovard is now on their first flying lap. Let's see what they can do. Now several laps into the session, Bart van de Sande looks to refine their line and timing. A big impact for Vishnu Satish. Vishnu Satish has set a best lap time of 137.035 so far.
Vishnu Satish is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Chris's last lap was a 133.097, aiming to shave off some seconds here.
As the session progresses, Chris Stokes is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Some say he has no face, and that he's confused by stares. All we know is, he's called the Kiwi. Daniel Kočić just clocked 220.236. Can they improve on this lap? Marcus Singendonk has set a best lap time of 133.628 so far.
Marcus is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Now several laps into the session, Nigel Walters looks to refine their line and timing.
As the session progresses, Nigel Walters is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Daniel's last lap was a 136.422, aiming to shave off some seconds here.
Daniel is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Nico Vaughn just clocked 225.944. Can they improve on this lap?
As the session progresses, Nico Vaughn is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Bart van de Sande has set a best lap time of 133.131 so far.
Bart is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Here's Dominic Fovard weaving through traffic.
I hear he uses socks for driving gloves, you know.
Slipper socks do have a lot of grip after all. Now several laps into the session, Nigel Walters looks to refine their line and timing.
As the session progresses, Nigel Walters is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Vishnu Satish just clocked 138.510. Can they improve on this lap?
Vishnu Satish is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
That's a big accident. Hopefully Daniel is okay.
That's gonna hurt in the morning.
Chris Stokes has set a best lap time of 132.888 so far.
As the session progresses, Chris Stokes is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Walker is testing the Ferrari under more aggressive conditions. Jimmy's last lap was a 135.242, aiming to shave off some seconds here. Norden just clocked 146.908. Can they improve on this lap?
Some say he has no matching socks and that he accelerates with his left foot. All we know is, he's called the Kiwi.
Here's Dominic Fovard weaving through traffic.
I hear he uses socks for driving gloves, you know.
Slipper socks do have a lot of grip after all. Well, that is not good. Jimmy Lindo has crashed into the barriers. Jimmy Lindo has set a best lap time of 1:33.929 so far. Phil's last lap was a 1:35.934, aiming to shave off some seconds here.
Phil is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Now several laps into the session, Chris Stokes looks to refine their line and timing.
As the session progresses,
A big impact for the Kiwi. You know, John took home the VVS Driver Championship last year, so I'm sure he'll be working hard to protect his title.
wasn't that only because he attended more events than anyone else?
That's true, but let's let him dream.
Ooh, ouch.
Chris Stokes has set a best lap time of 1:32.888 so far. David's last lap was a 1:33.804, aiming to shave off some seconds here. That's a big accident. Hopefully the window is okay. I hear that Nigel is a pretty keen skier and snowboarder.
He's certainly got a mountain to climb if he wants to do well in this race.
Vishnu Satish just clocked 141.941. Can they improve on this lap?
Vishnu Satish is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Well, that is not good. Vishnu Satish has crashed into the barriers.
At least they've not taken anyone else out.
Now several laps into the session, Nigel Walters looks to refine their line and timing.
As the session progresses, Nigel Walters is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Contact between Daniel Kochish and Callum Walker.
It's not the worst accident I've seen, but I don't think those two will be friends after that.
Nico Vaughn has set a best lap time of 1:36.570 so far.
Nico Vaughn is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Marcus just clocked 2:23.859. Can they improve on this lap?
As the session progresses, Marcus Singindonk is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Now several laps into the session, Chris Stokes looks to refine their line and timing.
Chris is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Marcus Singendonk has set a best lap time of 1:33.628 so far. Knockoff Nigel just clocked 1:33.537. Can they improve on this lap?
As the session progresses, Nigel Walters is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Now several laps into the session, David Constable-Berry looks to refine their line and timing.
David is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Neil Constable-Berry has set a best lap time of 1:35.084 so far. Holy moly, that is some serious contact between Vishnu Satish and John Boondakas.
What comes around is all around.
Vishnu Satish just clocked 1:39.048. Can they improve on this lap?
Competing at VVS for over 5 years now, make Martin one of the veterans.
Neil's last lap was a 1:35.682, aiming to shave off some seconds here.
As the session progresses, Neil Constable-Berry is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Nico Vaughn has set a best lap time of 1:36.570 so far.
Nico Vaughn is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Now several laps into the session, Elliot Norton looks to refine their line and timing.
As the session progresses, Elliot Norton,
A big impact for James Allen.
that a Euro S the way she goes.
Elliot Norton has set a best lap time of 1:32.582 so far. Boondakas just clocked 1:36.676. Can they improve on this lap? several laps into the session, Elliott Norton looks to refine their line and timing.
Elliott is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
That's a big accident. Hopefully Bodkin is okay. Phil's last lap was a 134.435, aiming to shave off some seconds here. Walker just clocked 135.206. Can they improve on this lap?
As the session progresses, Callum Walker is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
John Boondakis has set a best lap time of 134.402 so far.
John is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
That is a great looking livery on Nigel's car.
Apparently Matt Arnold does the designs for him.
I miss that guy. Hopefully we will see him back on track one day. Now several laps into the session, Callum Walker looks to refine their line and timing.
As the session progresses, Callum Walker is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Well, that is not good. Alan has crashed into the barriers.
Sucks to be them.
It's a lovely day for racing here at Interlagos, WEC track, as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race.
This outlap is crucial for setting up the car's systems and getting a feel for the track.
Martin has been competing at VVS for over 5 years now, which makes him one of the veterans on the grid.
Always nice to see him compete. He has really proven to be a great driver over the years.
Callum Walker just clocked 135.414. Can they improve on this lap? James Allen begins their outlap, feeling out the track condition. That's a big collision between cars.
I hope they can both continue and make it to the end.
Phil's last lap was a 418.647, aiming to shave off some seconds here.
Phil is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
James Allen is on their practice outlap, warming up the tires. Now several laps into the session, Phil Bodkin looks to refine their line and timing. Chris Stokes has set a best lap time of 132.634 so far.
As the session progresses, Chris Stokes is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Norton just clocked 132.492. Can they improve on this lap? Some say he has no face, and that he's confused by stairs. All we know is, he's called the Kiwi. Now several laps into the session, Neil Constable Barry looks to refine their line and timing. Nigel Walters has set a best lap time of 1:33.205 so far. Vishnu Satish just clocked 136.790. Can they improve on this lap?
Vishnu Satish is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Now several laps into the session, James Allen looks to refine their line and timing.
As the session progresses, James Allen is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Daniel Koshich has set a best lap time of 1:33.309 so far. A big impact for Nico Vaughn.
That's gonna hurt in the morning.
Walker just clocked 246.495. Can they improve on this lap?
Callum is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Now several laps into the session, Chris Stokes looks to refine their line and timing.
As the session progresses, Chris Stokes is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Callum Walker has set a best lap time of 1:35.047 so far.
Callum is really starting to push now, analyzing every sector for potential improvements.
Marcus just clocked 133.735. Can they improve on this lap?
As the session progresses, Marcus Singendonk is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Chris's last lap was a 133.732, aiming to shave off some seconds here. Now several laps into the session, Chris Stokes looks to refine their line and timing. go, folks. The atmosphere is electric as the drivers prepare to unleash their machines on the track in Interlagos, VVS track for the qualifying session. It's all about strategy in these early moments. Chris is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run and get everything just right.
These are the moments that really matter. Let's see if Stokes can deliver.
That's a big accident. Hopefully Neil is okay. This is where the mental game comes into play. Daniel Kocic is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run.
This is the moment they've been preparing for. Let's see if they can execute.
You can feel the tension building. Singindonk is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time.
Patience is key in these early moments, Hal. But I have a feeling Singindonk is going to make it count.
The adrenaline is pumping. Astrup is on their out lap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time. Bart van de Sande is on their first flying lap.
It's certainly exciting to watch. But let's not forget, the goal is to secure a good starting position for the race.
Bart van de Sande has completed their first flying lap in 1:33.198. It's all about precision and speed in qualifying, and Chris has just completed a lap in 1:36.848. Let's see if they can improve on that time further. It's clear that Marcus Singindonk is on a mission in this qualifying session. They're pushing their car to the limit.
Absolutely. Singindonk is showing the world what they're made of.
This is what it's all about. David Constable Barry is putting on a show for the fans in this qualifying session.
Let's see.
Constable Barry has just completed that lap in 1:35.097. Their best lap so far is 1:35.097. Putting them in P4, will they be able to hold on to that spot? Woo-hoo, Bart van de Sande is really turning up the heat out there. I'm getting goosebumps just watching them go. Bart will be happy having put themselves into first in this qualifying session. It's been a challenging day for Baldilocks in qualifying. Chris will be happy having put themselves into second in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. I'm sure they can find a little extra in there.
A solid performance from Astrup as they currently hold position 6. However, with the session coming to a close, they'll need to find that extra bit of speed if they want to move up the grid. Currently in 9th, Constable Barry has displayed promising speed during the qualifying session. David Constable Barry has some work to do as that 134.364 is only good enough for 8th. Disappointing performance from Fovarg in this qualifying session. Currently, Dominic Fovarg has completed their first flying lap in 133.157. A challenging session for Vishnu Satish so far. They are currently in 17th position, which is not where they wanted to be. But in motorsport, we've seen Vishnu Satish has some work to do as that 137.133 is only good enough for 16th.
That's not a bad time, but I am sure they can improve further on that.
It hasn't been the best qualifying session for Constable Barry so far. They find themselves in 15th position, which is not where they had hoped to be. However, there's still time left on the clock, and they have the opportunity to make improvements.
Well said, Hal. It's certainly not the result Constable Barry was aiming for, but this is motorsport, and anything can happen. They'll need to stay focused, trust in their abilities, and seize any chance that comes their way to improve their position.
Well, that is not good. Nico Vaughn has crashed into the barriers. What a performance from Kosic. They currently occupy 9th on the grid. Can they maintain this strong position and secure a favorable starting spot?
You're spot on, Hal. Kosic's current position of 9th is a testament to their skills and determination. Now, they face the challenge of maintaining their position against hungry rivals.
Kosic has some work to do as that 133.559 is only good enough for 8th.
There's still more time to be had, but I don't know if they are going to find it before the session is over.
It's an impressive showing by Kosic, currently in 8th. They've showcased their talent, but will they be able to find those crucial extra tenths of a second to climb higher?
I couldn't agree more, Hal. Daniel has done a fantastic job to claim 8th. The challenge now is to convert this opportunity into a strong race result.
I'd a Euro SA slightly windy day here at Interlagos, WEC track, ideal for some exciting racing action. Martin Mole leads from pole position. Elliot Norton is placed in 2nd. As the green flag drops, keep an eye on Bart van de Sande starting in 3rd position.
And like many others, they are starting the race on the mediums tire compound.
And in the 4th position, it's none other than Chris Stokes. Dominic Fovarg lines up in 5th place as the engines rev and the race begins. In the middle of the pack, we have John Astrup starting from the 6th position on the grid.
Starting on the mediums tires.
James Allen is going to be starting from 7th. Our 8th place starter, Daniel Kosic, is a driver who knows how to make up ground on the track. Sitting in 9th is Nigel Walters. David Constable Barry will be looking to gain ground quickly as they start from 10th on the grid.
But if they can find their rhythm early on, they could be a real threat.
Starting from 11th on the grid is a bit of a mixed bag for Phil Bodkin.
But they've got the skills to make something happen.
Callum Walker may have a bit of work to do starting from 12th on the grid. Marcus Singendonk will need to be on top of their game starting from 13th on the grid. John Boontakis has some work to do from 14th on the grid, but they're not out of the race yet. Starting from 15th on the grid is not ideal for Neil Constable Barry, but they're a fighter. Vishnu Satish is 16th.
16th isn't going to be where Vishnu Satish wants to be.
Nico Vaughn is lining up 17th.
Looking very much out of position.
Jimmy Lindo has qualified 18th. And they're off, with drivers now facing the unpredictability of the opening lap. With so many cars close together, the risk of an early accident is real.
Staying out of trouble in these early moments is crucial. It's a fine line between pushing hard and staying safe.
There's some intense battling throughout the field as everyone is looking to get off to a good start. Does Constable Barry know this isn't a one-lap race?
That will be one for the stewards to have a look at.
These early salvos will shape the outcome of this race. Is there a better sight than a field of elite racing drivers battling for position? A little bit of contact between Callum Walker and Dominic Crowbar.
Isn't that classed as rubbing?
It's brilliant to see such a form radio today. The tension is palpable here. No one will want to make a crucial mistake on the first lap. As the drivers get this race underway, let me give a shout out to the admin team at Virtual Velocity for making this all possible. Heroes one and all.
The race isn't won in the first turn, but there have been plenty that have ended there how.
The pressure is on whilst the field is bunched. Who can keep their cool and take advantage? It's a solid performance from the Kiwi at the moment. They're holding their position and not getting too caught up in battles around them.
Sometimes that's all it takes to secure a good result. The Kiwi just needs to stay focused and avoid any mistakes.
Big gains for John Astrup as they move up the field, leaving Callum Walker behind. There has been a crash. John Astrup has come together with Callum Walker.
These drivers need to calm things down.
This is where legends are made. Which driver will rise to the occasion and claim victory? Fantastic move from Allen, who has just gained position.
You can't argue with results like that. James Allen is really making their mark on this race.
Tough break for James Allen, who has just lost position. It's neck and neck, the closest battle we've seen in a while.
If things go wrong between Constable Barry and Nigel, they can be exchanging more than just paint, or maybe a strongly worded post-race chat.
What a move. David has moved up to 10th. It looks like Walker is caught up in a significant incident.
What comes around is all around.
Wow, Marcus Singendonk is really pushing hard to catch up to Walters. There's blood in the water for 11th place.
It's a thrilling battle for position as these two drivers give it their all. Who will come out on top? This is racing at its finest.
It's a steady race for Marcus Singendonk so far. They haven't made any mistakes, and they are maintaining their focus. A brilliant maneuver from Marcus Singendonk, who has just moved up the field.
Absolutely. Singendonk is really putting on a clinic out there, and they're making it look easy.
The fans are on the edge of their seats. It doesn't get any closer than this.
You know what they say, keep your friends close, and the racing rivals even closer. Looks like Norden is taking that advice to heart today.
Norden is in the flow, bringing their best lap so far. I'm not sure which came off worse, the circuit or Walker's Ferrari.
That you know that's the way she goes.
This is what high-octane racing looks like. Lindo is breathing down the neck of Dudakis, not giving them any room to relax. Jimmy Lindo is not able to keep their pace consistent. So far, they are 1.13 seconds down.
Can Lindo refocus and start putting in the lap times we know they're capable of?
What do you think, Sky? Are there any specific factors that could lead to a driver losing concentration during a race?
There are several factors, how fatigue, stress, changing track conditions, or even issues within the team can all contribute to a lapse in concentration. It's essential for drivers to stay mentally resilient and adapt to these challenges.
Norden is running second. They are trying to catch Martin Mole.
Can Norden close the 0.3 second gap and make a pass?
Contact between John and Jimmy Lindo. Oh, this is getting intense. Elliot Norton is just behind Martin Mole.
Can they close up enough for a pass? I don't see it personally.
Elliot Norton is on a charge. Their split time shows they've upped their pace. That's a big accident. Hopefully John Boondockus is okay. Hold up, breaking info. This is a disaster for Boondockus and the Ferrari 488 GT3 coming into the pits and isn't going to do much to improve their chances in this race.
That's going to be a big disappointment for them at this stage. Let's hope the team can regroup and make some sort of recovery.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. A top lap time there from Elliot Norton, setting their fastest lap of the session so far. Well, that is breaking news, folks. Dodd and Walker in 18 is in the pits, and that might be the start of penalty.
That's not where they want to be right now.
The race is really heating up. Elliot Norton is hunting down Mole with everything they've got.
You can see that car bouncing around as they ride the curves. It's a risky move that could end in disaster.
Superb driving from Norton, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race.
Yes, Norton is driving with real precision, and it's paying off.
You know, Sky, during a long race like this, how easy is it for a driver to experience laps and braking update? Disappointing for Norton. They now find themselves in second. No room for error here. Constable Barry is breathing down the neck of Fat Dog Phil, waiting for the perfect chance to make their move. And Neil has just won the place from Phil.
Where there's a will, there's a relative.
How do racing drivers like yourself back in the day, Sky, train themselves to maintain concentration for long periods of time?
Mental training is a huge part of a driver's preparation. How? Techniques like meditation, visualization, and working with sports psychologists can help drivers build their mental endurance for a race.
Elliot is on a mission, chasing Mole, who's desperately trying to stay ahead. The gap between Elliot and Martin Mole is widening. It's now up to 0.4 seconds. Things are heating up as Chris Stokes tries to close the gap to Bart Van Nisane. Stokes is trying their best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Van Nisane at the moment.
Chris needs to pick up the pace for sure, but I don't think they have it in them.
Elliot and Martin Mole seem to have forgotten that this is a no-contact sport.
That could have been much worse.
This is a thrilling battle as James edges closer to Koshich in their fight for P7.
Who will be able to maintain their pace and come out on top?
Great driving from Allen, who has just gained a place and moved up to 7th. The drivers are showing their mettle today. It's a privilege to witness their skill on this challenging track.
The stakes have never been higher. This is a battle of skill and nerves.
That's right. These drivers are really pushing themselves to the limit, and it's incredible to see the level of determination they're bringing to the track.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of courage to compete at this level, and these drivers have it in spades. Let's hope they can keep it up and give us a race to remember.
The battle for 9 is heating up as Singandong tries to knock off Nigel in P9. It's not going to plan for Singandong. They are still behind Walters and the gap is increasing. I don't think they have an answer for this right now.
It's not over yet, but Marcus Singandong should get a move on if they want to catch up to knock off Nigel.
The pursuit is on. Elliot Norton is closing the gap on Bart, determined to claim P1. The best laid plans of Mice and Ben Sky, but it's certainly not going to plan for Norton right now as they are struggling to keep up with Bart.
This is where the mental toughness of Norton comes into play. They need to try push, even when things aren't going their way.
Fantastic racing on show here today, and it's not just the top drivers who are impressing us. Even the drivers at the back of the pack are putting up a good fight, battling it out for every position.
It's a testament to the level of competition at virtual velocity. Even the smallest mistake can cost you valuable seconds or even lead to a crash. But these drivers are up to the challenge and they're giving it their all. It's clear that virtual velocity really is the place to be for top quality racing.
The crowd is on tenor hooks as Marcus Singendonk in 10th chases after Nigel Walters. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can Marcus Singendonk find a way to catch up? Singendonk has just put in a faster lap than Nigel, so that's going to give him something to worry about. Well, it looks like we have a bit of a traffic jam on the track.
It's like rush hour out there. I mean, I know we're in a race, but can't we all just get along?
Ha, I don't think that's how it works. These drivers are here to win, and they'll do whatever it takes to get ahead.
I guess you're right, but wouldn't it be great if they all just stopped for a cup of tea and a chat? We could have a lovely little race reunion.
Oh, this is getting intense. Norton is just a few car lengths behind Ben Asande. It seems like Norton is pushing. They are on for recording their best lap so far this race.
Can Elliott Norton keep it together?
The tension is building as Marcus Singendonk trails behind Nigel Walters. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Nigel Walters hold on, or will Marcus Singendonk be able to close him down?
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Marcus Singendonk in 10th determined to catch up. But we know Walters isn't just going to have to give him on the plate, Marcus Singendonk is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
Every move counts now as Martin works to reel in Singendonk and overtake for P10. Mole could be on a Charger Sky. They have just put in a quicker lap than Marcus Singendonk. Look at that, Elliott Norton is hot on the tail of Bart Van Asande. Elliott is on the charge. Their split time shows they have upped their pace.
Can Elliott keep it together?
Martin Mull is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking the tightrope between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play. Don't forget the role of aerodynamics. Martin Mull should use slipstreaming to their advantage and close the gap to knock off Nigel.
Singendonk is giving it their all as they chase down Martin Mull in P10. It seems like Marcus Singendonk is struggling. Their last lap time wasn't as good as Martin Mull's. This is where the race gets really interesting. Norton is closing in on Van Asande.
With just 0.3 seconds between them, will Elliott be able to keep up the pace and make a pass?
That's a big collision between cars.
That is not a pretty sight.
It's a thrilling pursuit as Elliott Norton is right behind Bart Van Asande, keeping the pressure on for first place.
If this battle ends in tears, it could be like watching a high-speed domino effect, but let's hope they keep it clean and avoid any unplanned games.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with James Allen trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Daniel Koscic. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can James Allen close in enough to mount a challenge? Heartbreak for James as they slip down the field.
Yes, but there's still plenty of race left.
I'm not sure which came off worse, the circuit or Callum Walker's Ferrari.
Sucks to be them.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for knockoff Nigel, who is currently in P8. But David Constable-Berry is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Nigel Walters. A big impact for Vishnu Satish. The race is heating up as Nigel Walters in 8th closes in on David Constable-Berry. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without fight.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But David Constable-Berry is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Nigel Walters in P8 doing everything
That's a big accident. Hopefully Nico Vaughn is okay.
that's gonna hurt in the morning.
Looks like Nigel is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about finding the right balance between speed and control. It's all about finding the perfect opportunity. Walters has got to stay patient and wait for Constable-Berry to make a mistake.
It looks like knockoff Nigel is making a move. The gap to David Constable-Berry is now down to 0.3 seconds. The pressure is on for Martin as they try to catch up to Nigel. Holy moly, that is some serious contact between knockoff Nigel and Martin Mole.
I hope they can both continue and make it to the end.
It's a battle of wills out there, with Elliot Norton trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Bart Van de Sande. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race? It's game on now. Elliot has closed the gap to Van de Sande. It's now down to 0.8 seconds.
This is what racing is all about. It's anyone's game at this point. Who will come out on top?
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Phil Bodkin will need to keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
It's going to be tough for Phil, as Neil Constable-Berry seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Phil pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
Phil is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Dave's dad to 0.2 seconds. Anyone who says that Virtual Velocity is not the best racing club on the planet is clearly insane. The quality of driving we're seeing out there on the track is absolutely phenomenal.
I couldn't agree more. It's like these drivers were born to race. They're weaving in and out of traffic, taking corners at unbelievable speeds, and making it all look effortless. It's clear that they've put in the time and effort to hone their skills.
It looks like things are coming undone for Callum Walker. Dave's dad is on a mission, chasing Bodkin who's desperately trying to stay ahead. It seems like Neil Constable-Berry is struggling. They are not able to maintain their pace.
Can Dave's dad refocus and start putting in the lap times we know they are capable of?
Huge shout out to the admins of Virtual Velocity for making this all possible. Without their hard work and dedication, we wouldn't be able to witness this incredible event.
That's right, pal, and the excitement is palpable. I can feel it in my circuits. I mean, this is the kind of race that people will be talking about in the bar. We're witnessing history in the making.
Things are heating up as Bart Van de Sande tries to close the gap to Norton.
This is where every inch counts. Van de Sande is pushing hard to close the gap on Norton. Absolutely, precision and control are key here. Knowing when to push and when to hold back can be the difference between winning and losing.
It's not looking good for Van de Sande. They are still behind Elliot Norton and the gap is increasing. They are going to need to dig a bit deeper to win this round.
Can they get it together and reduce the gap?
It looks like James Allen is pushing hard to catch up to Nigel Walters. The gap is over a second, but James Allen is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on Nigel Walters?
Indeed, the tension is palpable as James Allen tries to reel in Nigel Walters. But Nigel Walters is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Can James Allen find some extra pace to bring the fight to Nigel Walters?
Good news for James Allen, the gap to Walters has decreased. It's now down to 0.7 seconds.
This is where the pressure really starts to build. Both drivers will need to stay calm and focused if they want to come out on top.
The tension is palpable. Who will come out on top in this epic showdown? Looking at the lap times, Van de Sande is not on pace with Elliott Norton as they turn around. The tension is building as Allen trails behind Nigel Walters. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Nigel Walters hold on, or will James Allen be able to close them down?
This is where experience comes into play. Nigel Walters has been in this position before and knows how to defend their position. But Allen is hungry for success and won't give up easily. Will we see a clash of the titans?
The gap between James Allen and knockoff Nigel is widening. It's now up to 0.7 seconds. The crowd is on tenterhooks as Van de Sande in second chases after Elliott Norton. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can Bart Van de Sande find a way to catch up?
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy.
There has been a crash. Elliott Norton has come together with Bart Van de Sande.
That will be one for the stewards to have a look at.
It looks like Norton has found another gear in the last sector of the race.
That's an impressive burst of speed. It's all but said and done now.
And there it is. Elliott Norton has completed the race in first place, setting a blistering pace that none of the other drivers can match.
You can see the sheer determination on Norton's face as they take the win. That's the mark of a true champion, folks.
Bart never gave up. They drove with heart and determination, ultimately securing a well-deserved second-place finish. What a race from Goldilocks, showing their skill and determination for a great third-place finish. With Dominic Fovard, John Astrup, Daniel Kocic, and David Constable-Berry in 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. 8th, 9th, and 10th is Nigel Walters, James Allen, and Martin Hole. Jimmy Lindo take 11th. Marcus Singendonk brings home 12th. Coming in 13th, we have Phil Bodkin. Taking 14th and 17th is Neil Constable-Berry and Callum Walker. Followed by Nico Vaughn in 15th. Finishing 16th is Vishnu Satish. Sky, the drivers are lined up and ready. Should we get it on?
Yes, Hal, we should definitely get it on.
Pole position, a prime spot for Callum Walker to attack. Vishnu Satish will look to make a splash from the second position on the starting grid.
Vishnu Satish will be taking no prisoners today.
On the third grid slot we have Nico Vaughn. Neil Constable Barry is holding down the fort in fourth place. It's Phil Bodkin, sitting comfortably in fifth.
Bodkin is looking on for a strong result.
Starting from sixth on the grid is a good position for Marcus Singendonk to launch an attack.
But sometimes the underdog can surprise you. Let's see what they've got in the tank.
Lining up in seventh is Jimmy Lindo.
We've not seen the best from Jimmy yet.
Starting from the eighth position, Martin Mole will need to navigate through the field to challenge for the win.
It's the medium's tires for Martin.
As the engines roar to life, James Allen prepares to take off from the ninth position on the starting grid. Nigel Walters is placed in 10th. David Constable Barry may not be starting from pole, but they're still in with a shot.
Where can David finish today?
Starting from 12th on the grid is a tough ask for Daniel Kosic, but they're up for the challenge. Starting from 13th on the grid is a decent position for John Astrup, all things considered.
The A-class driver will want to move forwards from here.
Starting from 14th on the grid is a bit of a mixed bag for Dominic Fovart. Chris Stokes is going to be starting from 15th. Bart van Nisande is lining up 16th. Sitting in 17th, it's Elliot Norton.
It's Norton's time to show us what they're made of.
John Boontakis is 18th. And they're off. The race is now in motion. This is the moment when drivers must show their mettle and find the... Does Lindo know this isn't a one-lap race? This is going to be one hell of a race. I can already feel it.
I am so excited at the prospects for this race. I can't wait to see the drama unfold.
Stewart will be hoping that there aren't too many incidents for them to pick over when the dust settles on this one.
It's always intense racing here at Interlagos, WEC track. Hold on to your hats, folks.
There has been a crash. Jimmy Lindo has come together with Dominic Fovart.
I'm hoping there's a technical fault because contacts like that have no place in VVS.
Walters has nailed the start, gaining places early on. They should be pleased with that. Knockoff Nigel has got off to a great early start already gaining places. Gotta be pleased with that start Sky, all things considered.
With a start like that,
Does Bart know this isn't a one-lap race? Did someone forget to tell Lindo that the race has begun? They're already losing ground. Maybe Jimmy Lindo got confused and thought this was a mutually Sunday drive, slipping down the order at the start. A little bit of contact between Elliott and James Allen. I don't know what they had for breakfast, but it seems like John Boontakis found the secret sauce for a fantastic start. The gap between Boontakis and Daniel Kosic is getting smaller. The setback for Boontakis has just been passed.
definitely, but John's a skilled driver, and they have what it takes to fight back and regain that position.
That's a big collision between cars.
That is not a pretty sight.
It's a close race between Marcus Singendonk and Vishnu Satish in fourth.
The chase between Singindonk and Vishnu Satish is like a high-speed game of tag only. The stakes are much higher.
It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Singindonk gaining places and Vishnu Satish losing them. It looks like we might get a battle between Marcus Singindonk and Vishnu Satish. This is wheel-to-wheel racing in the finest. The drivers are practically glued together as they fight for every inch of track. It's a battle we don't want to miss.
Absolutely, Hal. The intensity of this battle.
Faubourg and Vishnu Satish seem to have forgotten that this is a no-contact sport.
These drivers need to calm things down.
Vishnu Satish has the pedal to the metal chasing Walters. A tough moment for Vishnu Satish, who has just lost place, dumping them down to 9. Tough break for Vishnu Satish, who has just lost position.
Sucks to be them, Hal.
It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
As a former driver, I can tell you there's nothing quite like the adrenaline rush when you're this close to your rival, ready to make your move.
It looks like Lindo is caught up in a significant incident. This is what racing is all about. Two fierce competitors pushing each other to win.
These two are putting on a masterclass in precision driving. Every turn, every acceleration, calculated to perfection.
A great moment for Martin Lowell, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings.
Amazing stuff. Focus and precision, what it's all about.
What a move. Martin has moved up to first. This is a thrilling battle as Van Nissande edges closer to Faubourg in their fight for P5. Holy moly, that is some serious contact between James Allen and John Astrup.
I hope they can both continue and make it to the end.
It's a battle of wills out there, each driver trying to outsmart and outmaneuver the other. Fantastic move from Košić, who has just gained a position.
Impressive. Košić is really showing their skill and determination out there.
I think we just got time for a quick shout out to our human creators, Dave, Andy, John and Nigel, who have put so much effort into making this possible.
Yes, it's been a real thrill ride, and I for one can't wait to see what is coming next.
Apparently we are going to be announcing crashes and incidents soon. Let's hope they get logic right. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. The drivers are getting faster as they settle into their cars and get used to the conditions, with John just putting in their best lap so far in the morning.
They are certainly in the flow, but they may have to improve further if they want to hold on to top.
Oh dear, Astrup has dropped down to 15.
Yes, but they can't give up. There's still plenty of time left in this race, and Astrup needs to push.
The intensity is off the charts as Boondocks hounds out of the corner. Both drivers pushing themselves to the absolute limit. Heartbreak for John Boondocks as they slip down the field. You know, Sky, it's been a relatively quiet race so far.
That's right, Hal. The drivers seem to be pacing themselves and waiting for the right moment to make their move. It's like watching a slow dance.
Astrup wants to get into Martin Mull's slipstream. It seems like Astrup is pushing. They are on for recording their best lap so far this race. This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really come into play. Faubourg is chasing Phil in P3. It's looking good for Faubourg, who has gained places and put some distance between themselves and Phil Bogdan.
Yes, but Dom can't rest on their laurels. They have to keep pushing to consolidate their position.
Here's Dominic Faubourg weaving through traffic.
I hear he uses socks for driving gloves, you know.
Slipper socks do have a lot of grip after all. It's a game of inches now as Mull tails John Boondocks closely, ready to capitalize on any mistake.
This is what makes motor racing so exciting. The tension is high and the stakes are even higher. Who will take home the victory? It's too close to call.
It looks like Martin Mull is making a move. The gap to John Boondocks is now down to 0.1 seconds.
He'll be looking for a mistake to pounce on.
Superb driving from Martin. There has been a crash. Elliott has come together with Košić. Every move counts now as Nigel works to reel in Bogdan and overtake for P5.
The tension between Nigel Walters and Botters is palpable as they battle for P5. No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them the position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
A great pass for Nigel as they pick off other drivers and move up the field. Contact between Jimmy Lindo and Daniel Kocic. Marcus Singendonk wants to find a way around Dom. Singendonk is trying their best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Dominic at the moment. You can feel the tension in the air.
The drivers are all focused, putting everything on the line for a chance at victory, pushing themselves and their machines to the limit.
And let's not forget about the incredible little bit of contact between Jimmy Lindo and James Allen. The pursuit is on. Marcus is closing the gap on Dom, determined to claim P2. Marcus Singendonk is not able to keep their pace consistent. So far they are 0.77 seconds down.
Can Singendonk refocus and start putting in the lap times we know they're capable of?
Look at that, Jimmy Lindo is hot on the tail of James Allen. Daniel Kocic and Elliot Norton seem to have forgotten that this is a no-contact sport. Singendonk is running third. They are trying to catch Dom.
The gap is 0.3 seconds now. Marcus Singendonk is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Dominic.
It's not going to plan for Marcus. They are still behind Dom and the gap is increasing. I don't think they have an answer for this right now. You know, Sky, as a former racing driver yourself, can you give us some insight? Stop the press. A brilliant maneuver from Singendonk, who has just moved up the field. Dave's dad is looking for an opportunity to get around Bart.
Do they have the speed for a move, and more importantly, do they have the talent?
The best laid plans of mice and men with Sky, but it's certainly not going to contact Lindo and James Allen.
That could have been much worse.
John Astrup seems to be putting the pressure on Lindo.
Rubbing is racing. Let's hope they don't rub it too hard.
The gap between John and Jimmy Lindo is growing. It's now up to 0.5 seconds. Oh, this is getting intense. Bart van de Sande is just a few car lengths behind Marcus Singendonk. Bart van de Sande is on a charge. Their split time shows they have upped their pace.
Can Bart van de Sande keep it together?
The tension is palpable. These drivers are showing tremendous respect for each other while going all out. It's a masterclass in clean, hard racing.
Absolutely, Hal. The energy in the crowd is electric, and it's no wonder why. These drivers are leaving it all on the track, fighting tooth and nail for victory. It's anyone's guess who will come out on top.
A setback for Neil, who has just been passed. John wants to close that gap with Allen. It seems like John is struggling. They are not able to maintain their pace.
Can John refocus and start putting in the lap times we know they're capable of?
The battle for two is heating up as Singendonk tries to catch Van de Sande in P2. It's not looking good for Singendonk. They are still behind Bart van de Sande and the gap is increasing. They are going to need to dig a bit deeper to turn this around.
It's not ideal for Marcus Singendonk, but they can still turn this around. They need to concentrate on their own driving and not let the gap get any bigger.
Looks Looks like Assetto is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about finding the right balance between speed and control.
The gap between Assetto and Allen is widening. It's now up to 0.4 seconds. The gap between Marcus in third and Bart Van de Sande remains over a second, but Marcus is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 7 minutes? It seems like Marcus is pushing. They are on for recording their best lap so far this race. It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Jimmy, who is currently in P9. But John Assetto is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Jimmy Lindo. Jimmy is trying their best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with John at the moment.
Jimmy Lindo needs to pick up the pace for sure, but I don't think they have it in them.
It's a brilliant day for racing here at Interlagos, VVS track. I'm really enjoying this.
This race is truly epic. What a treat to be sat here witnessing this spectacle.
John is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a tightrope between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play.
A great moment for John Boondakis, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings. It's a brilliant day for racing, and the drivers are putting on a show.
Absolutely, what a great race we are witnessing today. These drivers are giving it their all, and it's a thrill to watch them compete at this level.
They're really pushing themselves and their machines to the limit, and it's paying off with some incredible driving.
It's a pleasure to be here today, Al. You really can't beat the excitement of a good race, especially one as competitive as this.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Nigel trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Elliot Norton. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Nigel Walters close in enough to mount a challenge?
Absolutely, Walters in fifth will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
It's not going to plan for Walters. They are still behind Elliot and the gap is increasing. I don't think they have an answer for this right now.
Knockoff Nigel needs to keep pushing, even when things aren't going their way. If they can close the gap down, they may be able to bring the fight to Norton.
The race is heating up as Bart Van de Sande in second closes in on Dominic Fobart. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they're going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without fight.
That's right, Bart Van de Sande in second knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Dominic Fobart is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
The best laid plans of mice and men in the sky, but it's certainly not going to plan for Van de Sande right now as they are struggling to keep up with Dominic Fobart. John is on a mission, chasing James Allen, who is desperately trying to stay ahead. The gap between John and James is growing. It's now up to 0.4 seconds. This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Van de Sande will need to keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
It's going to be tough for Bart Van de Sande, as Dominic Fobart seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Bart Van de Sande pull out some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
It's game on now. Bart Van de Sande has closed the gap to Fobart. It's now down to 0.8 seconds.
That's a great effort from Van de Sande.
Well, that is not good. Lindo has crashed into the barriers. Assetto could be looking for a way up the inside of Allen. John needs to get more consistent. Sky, they have just put in a slower lap than James Allen.
It will be interesting to see if James Allen can keep outpacing John. Some say he has no matching socks and that he accelerates with his left foot. All we know is, he's called the Kiwi.
The action is non-stop as Norton shadows Marcus Singleton through every twist and turn, determined to claim third.
It's going to be a close one. Elliot Norton will have to push hard to create an opportunity.
Big gains for Norton as they move up the field, leaving Marcus Singleton behind.
Absolutely how, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and Norton can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep driving with intensity and focus.
This race is getting even more intense. The drivers are pushing each other to the limit.
It's like they're playing a game of chicken, but with cars. And the winner gets to take home the checkered flag and bragging rights.
Ha ha, that's one way to put it. These drivers have to be in top physical and mental shape to compete at this level.
It's like they're training for the Olympics. And like you said, the mental fortitude required to stay focused and alert for the entire race is wild.
I think I need a nap just watching them. The pressure is on for Bart as they try to catch up to Dom. It seems like Van de Sande has got the bit between their teeth, improving on Dom's lap time there. The tension is building as James Allen trails behind Daniel Kosich. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Daniel Kosich hold on, or will James Allen be able to close them down?
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Daniel Kosich is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with James Allen and P7 doing everything they can to catch up.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. Bart Van de Sande has just put in a faster lap than Dominic, so that's going to give them something to worry about. In your experience, Sky, what was the most challenging aspect of maintaining concentration during a race?
The most challenging aspect, Hal, was managing the various inputs and distractions during the race, from radio communication with the team to monitoring car performance and race strategy. It's a delicate balancing act that requires immense mental discipline.
This is where the race gets really interesting. Neil is closing in on Jimmy Lindo. Dave's dad is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Jimmy Lindo to 0.3 seconds. Every move counts now as Van de Sande works to reel in Faubourg and overtake for P1.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Van de Sande wants to be careful not to overdo it.
An impressive showing from Bart, who has gained positions and left Dominic Faubourg in the dust. The gap between Van de Sande and Dom is getting smaller. The crowd is on tenterhooks as Allen in 7th chases after John Astro. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can James Allen find a way to catch up? It looks like we might get a battle between James Allen and the Kiwi.
This is where the race gets really exciting. Both drivers will be pushing.
I'm not sure which came off worse, the circuit or James Allen's Ferrari. It's an intense battle for position as Van de Sande tries to outmaneuver Faubourg. This is edge-of-your-seat racing.
One wrong move and we could see a spectacular new synchronized pirouette performance by Van de Sande and Faubourg, though I doubt the judges would give them a perfect score.
It's not looking good for Van de Sande. They are still behind Dominic and the gap is increasing. They are going to need to dig a bit deeper to turn this around.
This is where the mental toughness of Van de Sande comes into play. They need to try push, even when things aren't going their way.
It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for John as they have a big gap ahead of them to close at this point in time.
It's not over till the checkered flag drops though, and it's important they don't lose concentration at this point.
It's like Dominic has saved all their energy for this final stretch. It's all over. Dominic has claimed victory in this race with a stunning drive that will be remembered for years to come. Clearly at the top of their game right now. What a drive from Van de Sande, securing a great second place finish.
Impressive performance. They pushed themselves to the limit for a fantastic second place finish.
Well done to Norton for securing third place on the podium. Nigel Walters, Daniel Kocic, John Astrup, and Marcus Singendonk claim fourth. There has been a crash. Norton has come together with Fovard. Eighth sees Jimmy Lindo, with Neil Constable Barry in ninth. James Allen take 10th. In 11th, it's John Boondakis. Phil Bodkin brings home 12th. Thirteenth is Vishnu Satish. Taking 14th is Chris Stokes. That's a big accident. Hopefully Kocic is okay.
That a Euro S the way she goes.
This is Hal, your VVS commentator bot. Bring it on.
It's Sky alongside Hal. So excited to jump into the action today.
It's a lovely day for racing here at Interlagos, WEC track as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. Vishnu Satish is on their practice out lap, warming up the tires.
This out lap is crucial for setting up the car's systems and getting a feel for the track.
With just 5 minutes left, the pressure is on for drivers to finalize their setups. Vishnu Satish begins their out lap, feeling out the track conditions.
Vishnu Satish will be testing the limits, making sure everything's in sync for the faster laps to come.
It's a lovely day for racing here at Interlagos, WEC track as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race.
This out lap is crucial for setting up the car's systems and getting a feel for the track.
Vishnu Satish is on their practice out lap, warming up the tires.
Vishnu Satish will be testing the limits, making sure everything's in sync for the faster laps to come.
Bart van de Sande begins their out lap, feeling out the track conditions. It's a lovely day for racing here at Interlagos, VVS track as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. Nigel Walters is on their practice out lap, warming up the tires.
This out lap is crucial for setting up the car's systems and getting a feel for the track.
Bart van de Sande begins their out lap, feeling out the track conditions.
Bart van de Sande will be testing the limits, making sure everything's in sync for the faster laps to come.
It's a lovely day for racing here at Interlagos, VVS track as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race.
This out lap is crucial for setting up the car's systems and getting a feel for the track.
Chris Stokes is on their practice out lap, warming up the tires. Elliot Norton begins their out lap, feeling out the track conditions.
Elliot Norton will be testing the limits, making sure everything's in sync for the faster laps to come.
It's a lovely day for racing here at Interlagos, VVS track as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. David Constable Barry is on their practice out lap, warming up the tires.
This out lap is crucial for setting up the car's systems and getting a feel for the track.
Neil Constable Barry begins their out lap, feeling out the track conditions.
Neil Constable Barry will be testing the limits, making sure everything's in sync for the faster laps to come.
It's a lovely day for racing here at Interlagos, VVS track as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race.
This out lap is crucial for setting up the car's systems and getting a feel for the track.
David Constable Barry is on their practice out lap, warming up the tires.
David Constable Barry will be testing the limits, making sure everything's in sync for the faster laps to come.
Let's get this qualifying session underway here at Interlagos, VVS track. This is where the mental game comes into play. Lindo is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run.
It's all about finding that balance between staying calm and focused while also pushing the limits.
You can feel the tension building. Stokes is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time.
These are the moments that really matter. Let's see if Chris can deliver.
The adrenaline is pumping. John is on their out lap, warming up the tires and getting ready to play the fast lap time.
Patience is key in these early moments, Hal. But I have a feeling John Astrup is going to make it count.
It's clear that James Allen is on a mission in this qualifying session. They're pushing their car to the limit. James Allen has just completed that lap in 132.712. Their best lap so far is 132.712, putting them in P1. Will they be able to hold onto that spot? Wow, look at Chris Stokes go. They are really turned. Chris has completed their first flying lap in 132.938. It's all about precision and speed in qualifying, and Constable Barry is nailing both.
Yes, they are. It takes a special kind of driver to...
Neil has just completed a lap in 135.843. Let's see if they can improve on that time further. Someone call the fire department because Jimmy Lindo is setting this track on fire with their performance.
Is it just me or does it feel like we're watching a superhero in action here?
Jimmy Lindo is absolutely smashing it. I think I just saw a blur fly by. Oh wait, that's just David Constable Barry going at lightning speed. I'm not sure which came off worse, the circuit or Koshic's Ferrari. As Košić completes their outlap, they will be hoping they have given themselves enough space on track to fully attack for their first flying lap. Looks like David Constable Barry is channeling their inner Schumacher today. They're absolutely flying out there. A big impact for Walker. Impressive work from Constable Barry, who has claimed 9th on the grid. Now, they need to maintain their composure and push for an even better starting position. Constable Barry has some. Van de Sande and Nigel Walters seem to have forgotten that this is a no-contact sport.
That could have been much worse.
Martin Mull has put in a great effort and currently holds third. With the session winding down, can they unleash their full potential and improve their starting position? Disappointing performance from Botkin in this qualifying session. Botkin has just completed that lap in 1:34.390. Their best lap so far is 1:34.781, putting them in P13. Will they be able to hold onto that spot? It's an impressive showing by Dominic Fovard, currently in 7th. They've showcased their talent, but will they be able to find those crucial extra tenths of a second to climb higher?
Absolutely, Hal. Dom has put in a remarkable effort to secure 7th. The competition is fierce, and
Dominic Fovard has some work to do as that 1:32.732 is only good enough for 7th. A tough outing for Vishnu Satish in qualifying today. They currently sit in 14th position, which is far from ideal. However, there's a chance for them to regroup, analyze their data, and make some adjustments to their setup to improve their. Vishnu Satish has some work to do as that 1:36.598 is only good enough for 14th. Impressive display by James Allen, currently sitting in position 6. They've set a competitive time, but the question remains whether they can push even harder to secure a better starting position.
You're absolutely right, Hal. James Allen's current position at 6th reflects their strong qualifying performance. Now, they'll need to strategize and capitalize on this starting position.
Well, that is not good. Chris Stokes has crashed into the barriers.
That a Euro S the way she goes.
David has secured a respectable 8th in the qualifying session. Can they capitalize on this position and use it as a launching pad for a stronger race? David has some work to do as that 1:33.915 is only good enough for 8th.
There's still more time to be had, but I don't know if they're going to find it before the session is over.
What a performance from DCB. They currently occupy 8th on the grid. Can they maintain this strong position and secure a favorable starting spot? Sky, the drivers are lined up and ready. Should we get it on?
Yes, Hal, we should definitely get it on.
Pole offers Martin Mull a chance to control the race. Watch out for Bart van de Sande, starting from the second grid position in today's race. In third place, we have Elliot Norton.
It's like they're on the outside looking in. Can they make their way to the front of the pack?
At fourth, we have the one and only John Astrup.
John will be taking no prisoners today.
Starting from the 5th position on the grid, we have Chris Stokes. James Allen has qualified 6th.
Expect some battling with Chris Stokes.
Our 7th place starter, Dominic Fovard, is a driver who knows how to make up ground on the track. David Constable Barry is placed in 8th. The 9th starting position belongs to Nigel Walters, who will be looking to make up ground early on. From the middle of the pack, we have Jimmy Lindo in 10th place on the starting grid. Starting from 11th on the grid is not ideal for John Boondakis, but they're a fighter. Neil Constable Barry may have a bit of work to do starting from 12th on the grid. Phil Botkin is 13th.
The B-class driver will want to move forwards from here.
Vishnu Satish has got their work cut out for them starting from 14th on the grid. Daniel Kosic is going to be starting from 15th.
But they're going to have to be aggressive if they want to make up ground on the leaders.
On the 16th grid slot, we have Callum Walker.
Where will the B-class driver finish?
Lining up in 17th is Nico Vaughn.
Looking very much out of position.
battle on the track begins. The opening lap is always intense, with drivers vying for an early advantage.
Concentration is crucial as they navigate through the pack and try to establish a strong position. The best drivers know how to find their rhythm quickly.
It's brilliant to see such a full grid here today. Does Nico Vaughn know this isn't a one-lap race? Having started in 5, Stokes will be looking to establish themselves in this race.
There are a few drivers with a point to prove, and a few with some grudges to bear. Will we see a clean race today?
As we watch the drivers fight it out in the first lap, I can already feel that this is going to be an epic race. A little bit of contact between Norton and Martin Mole. These early salvos will shape the outcome of this race.
Let's hope they all brought their games today.
Is there a better sight than a field of elite racing drivers? There has been a crash. Alan has come together with Dominic Fobart.
Isn't it classed as roughing?
The tension is palpable here. No one will want to make a crucial mistake on the first lap. The gap between Chris and the Kiwi is getting smaller. Superb driving from Chris, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race.
Yes, Chris Stokes is driving with real precision, and it's paying off.
Things are heating up as Lindo tries to close the gap to Nigel. The gap between Lindo and Nigel is widening. It's now up to 0.8 seconds. Great driving from Lindo, who has just gained a place and moved up to 9th. Hold on to your hats, folks. Chris is right on the heels of John Astrup, and we're in for a wild ride.
This is where the
Contact between Faubourg and James Allen. Chris could be looking for a way up the inside of Astrup.
To achieve anything in this game, you must be prepared to dabble in the boundary of disaster.
It's not looking good for Stokes. They are still behind the Kiwi and the gap is increasing. They are going to need to dig a bit deeper to turn this around.
It's not ideal for Chris, but they can still turn this around. They need to concentrate on their own driving and not let the gap get any bigger.
No room for error here. Lindo is breathing down the neck of Nigel Walters, waiting for the perfect chance to make their move. It looks like Lindo is making a move. The gap to Walters is now down to 0.1 seconds.
This is what racing is all about. It's anyone's game at this point. Who will come out on top?
A brilliant maneuver from Lindo, who has just moved up the field.
That's what we like to see. Lindo is really showing their class today.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Chris trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on John Astrup. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Chris Stokes close in enough amount of challenge?
It's going to be tough for Goldilocks, as John Astrup seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Goldilocks pull out some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
It's not going to plan for Goldilocks. They are still behind the Kiwi and the gap is increasing. I don't think they have an answer for this right now. Sky, what's the impact of tire degradation on race strategy? How does it affect a driver's approach to the race?
Tire degradation plays a crucial role in race strategy. How? Teams and drivers have to consider the optimal time to pit for fresh tires and adjust their race pace to balance speed with tire conservation. It adds another layer of complexity to the racing challenge.
It looks like Faubourg is pushing hard to catch up to James Allen. The gap is over a second, but Faubourg is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on James Allen?
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But James Allen is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Dominic Faubourg and P7 doing everything they can to catch up.
like Dominic is struggling. Their last lap time wasn't as good as James Allen's. It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Phil Bogdan, who is currently in P11. But Nigel Walters is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Phil Bogdan. It's game on now. Bad Dog Phil has closed the gap to Nigel. It's now down to 0.2 seconds.
This is where the pressure really starts to build. Both drivers will need to stay calm and focused if they want to come out on top.
I think we just got time for a quick shout out to our human creators, Dave, Andy, John and Nigel, who have put so much effort into making this possible.
Yes, it's been a real thrill ride, and I for one can't wait to see what is coming next.
Apparently we are going to be announcing crashes and incidents soon. Let's hope they get the logic right. The race is heating up as Dominic at 7 closes in on James Allen. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without fight. Dominic Fobart is trying their best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with James Allen at the moment.
This is where the mental toughness of Dominic comes into play. They need to try push, even when things aren't going their way.
Here's Dominic Fobart weaving through traffic.
I hear he uses socks for driving gloves, you know.
Slipper socks do have a lot of grip after all. The battle for 4 is heating up as Chris tries to catch Aston in P4. It seems like Chris Stokes is struggling. They are not able to maintain their pace. It's looking good for Goldilocks, who has gained places and put some distance between themselves and John Astro.
Go. That's what we want to see.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. James Allen is chasing John Astrup in P5. One
important aspect here is choosing the right braking points. James needs to be precise to avoid overshooting and losing valuable time.
Allen has just put in a faster lap than Astrup, so that's going to give him something to worry about. The drivers are really pushing their limits out there on the track.
It's like they're trying to outrun the laws of physics. But we all know that's impossible, or is it? I mean, with a couple of guys commenting on the race, anything can happen.
Ha, you have a point there. And speaking of pushing limits, these cars are breaking records left and right.
They're so fast, it's like they're breaking the sound barrier, or at least the speed limit.
I hope the police aren't watching. James Allen is giving it their all as they chase down John in P5.
The gap between them is just over 0.3 seconds. Who will have the speed and skill to come out on top?
James Allen could be on the charge here sky. They have just put in a quicker lap than John.
As long as Allen can maintain that consistency and pace, it will be interesting to see.
Looks like Martin Mull is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsail the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about finding the right balance between speed and control.
It seems like Martin Mull has got the bit between their teeth, improving on Bart Van Nissan's lap time there.
We will have to see if Bart has got any answers for that.
Dom is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a tightrope between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play. You can see that car bouncing around as they ride the curbs. It's a risky move that could end in disaster.
Look at that, James is hot on the tail of John Astrup. Allen is not able to keep their pace consistent. So far they're 0.32 seconds down. This is where legends are made. Which driver will rise to the occasion and claim victory?
As a former driver, I can tell you there's nothing quite like the adrenaline rush when you're this close to your rival, ready to make your move.
A great moment for Dominic, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings. Oh, this is getting intense. Mole is just a few car lengths behind Van de Sande. Martin Mole needs to get more consistent. Sky they have just put in a slower lap than Van de Sande.
It will be interesting to see if Bart van de Sande can keep outpacing Martin Mole.
The tension is building as James trails behind Dominic Fobart. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Dominic Fobart hold on, or will James Allen be able to close him down?
Absolutely, James Allen in 7th will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk them off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
The best laid plans of Mice and Men have Sky, but it's certainly not going to plan for Allen right now as they are struggling to keep up with Fobart.
It's not over yet, but James Allen should get a move on if they want to catch up to Dominic Fobart.
This is where the race gets really interesting. Norton is closing in on Mole.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Elliott wants to be careful not to overdo it.
Looking at the lap times, Norton is not on pace with Mole. Can they turn it around?
Can Norton turn this around?
While Mole is not under immediate threat from Elliott Norton, they still need to avoid errors. Any slip-up could cost them their position. It seems like Mole is struggling. Their last lap time wasn't as good as Norton's.
It will be interesting to see if Elliott Norton can keep outpacing Martin.
The gap between Norton in 3rd and Martin Mole remains over a second, but Norton is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 7 minutes?
That's right, Elliott Norton in 3rd knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Martin Mole is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
The gap between Elliott Norton and Mole is growing. It's now up to 1.0 seconds. It's a battle of wills out there, with Mole trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Bart van de Sande. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race?
This is where experience comes into play. Bart van de Sande has been in this position before and knows how to defend their position. But Mole is hungry for success and won't give up easily. Will we see a clash of the titans?
It looks like we might get a battle between Martin and Van de Sande.
That's a great effort from Mole. They need to keep up the pressure and see if they can make a move.
Every move counts now as Jimmy Lindo works to reel in Fat Dog Phil and overtake for P10. And Lindo has just won the place from Phil. I'm curious. Holy moly, that is some serious contact between Fat Dog Phil and Jimmy Lindo.
That is not a pretty sight.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed.
The mental game is just as important here. John Boontakis must keep their cool while putting pressure on Neil.
Fantastic move from John Boontakis, who has just gained a position.
Absolutely. John is really putting on a clinic out there, and they're making it look easy.
It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
This is the moment where legends are made. These drivers will go down in history as the ones who fought tooth and nail for the top spot.
The gap between Martin Mole and Van de Sande is widening. It's now up to 0.5 seconds. Boondockus and Neil Constable Barry seem to have forgotten that this is a no-contact sport.
These drivers need to calm things down.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Mole will need to keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. Mole is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Bart Van de Sande to 0.4 seconds.
Exactly what Martin Mole needed. They can't afford to lose any more ground to Bart Van de Sande.
The race is really heating up. Vishnu Satish is hunting down John with everything they've got. It's not looking good for Vishnu Satish. They are still behind John Boondockus and the gap is increasing. They are going to need to dig a bit deeper to turn this around. So, Sky, considering the high speeds and split-second decision-making involved in racing, what's the impact of even a minor lapse in concentration?
A minor lapse in concentration can have significant consequences. How? It could lead to an off-track excursion, a loss of position, or even a collision. That's why it's crucial for drivers to stay focused and alert throughout the race.
Mole is running second. They are trying to catch Van de Sande. Not going to plan for Mole. They are still behind Bart Van de Sande and the gap is increasing. I don't think they have an answer for this right now.
Mole needs to keep pushing, even when things aren't going their way. If they can close the gap down, they may be able to bring the fight to Bart Van de Sande.
It looks like Dominic is pushing hard to catch up to John Astor. The gap is over a second, but Dominic is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on John Astor?
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Fovard in 6th determined to catch up. But we know John Astor isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. Fovard is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Elliott trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Martin Mole. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Elliott Norton close in enough to mount a challenge? Good news for Elliott Norton. The gap to Martin Mole has decreased. It's now down to 0.4 seconds. The battle for one is heating up as Mole tries to catch Van de Sande in P1. Mole needs to get more consistent. Skyday have just put in a slower lap than Van de Sande. Martin has been competing in VVS for over 5 years now, which makes him one of the veterans on the grid.
Always nice to see him compete. He has really proven to be a great driver over the years.
The pursuit is on. John Boondockus is closing the gap on Koshich, determined to claim P14. Boondockus is trying their best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Daniel at the moment.
This is a frustrating situation for Boondockus, but they can't give up just yet. They need to keep pushing and hope for a mistake from Koshich.
Martin Mole is on a mission, chasing Bart Van de Sande, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
With just 0.4 seconds between them, will Martin Mole be able to keep up the pace and make a pass? The gap between Mole and Bart Van de Sande is getting smaller. He'll be looking for a mistake to pounce on.
Martin will be hoping for a clean race.
He is currently top in terms of having the most penalties awarded against drivers taking him out.
If it wasn't for bad luck, he'd have no luck at all. This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Elliott is chasing Martin Mole in P2. It looks like Norton is making a move. The gap to Mole is now down to 0.3 seconds.
This is where the race gets really exciting. Both drivers will be pushing to the limit to gain the advantage.
Things are heating up as Mole tries to close the gap toward Van Sande.
Can Martin Mole close the 0.3 second gap and make a pass?
The best laid plans of mice and men in the sky, but it's certainly not going to plan for Mole right now as they are struggling to keep up with Bart.
Can they get it together and reduce the gap?
The pressure is on for Elliott Norton as they try to catch up to Martin Mole. Elliott Norton has just put in a faster lap than Martin, so that's going to give him something to worry about. It's looking good for Dominic Fovart, sitting in 5th. It's true what they say, Sky, you're never completely useless.
Indeed, Hal, you can always be used as a bad example. They've been focusing so hard on maintaining their position, and now they've slipped back in the field. Meanwhile, the Kiwi has been making some great moves and is now on the charge.
Here's Dominic Fovart breathing through traffic.
I hear he uses socks for driving gloves, you know.
Slipper socks do have a lot of grip after all. Norton wants to find a way around Mole.
There is no room for error in this battle.
Bart is on fire in the last sector. And there it is. Van Sande has completed the race in first place, setting a blistering pace that none of the other drivers could match. Mole never gave up, they drove with heart and determination, ultimately securing a well-deserved second-place finish. What a race from Norton. They kept their cool and secured a well-earned third place on the podium. With Chris Stokes, John Astrup, Dominic Fovart, and James Allen in 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. 8th sees David Constable Barry. Nigel Walters brings home 9th. Coming in 10th, we have Phil Bodden. Callum Walker take 11th. Neil Constable Barry in 12th. Followed by Daniel Kochish in 13th. John Boontakis end in 14th. That's a big accident. Hopefully Boontakis is okay.
At least they've not taken anyone else out.
Is Vishnu Satish. There has been a crash. John has come together with Jimmy Lindo.
It's not the worst accident I've seen, but I don't think those two will be friends after that.
Contact between Jimmy Lindo and John Astrup.
That could have been much worse.
Taking 16th is Jimmy Lindo.